What's going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for a SmackDown and Rampage review for April the 8th, 2022. And SmackDown was an absolute waste of everybody's time. Yes, there were two call-ups to SmackDown, but SmackDown as a whole was a waste of time. It was just, what is Roman going to say? And we all knew that was going to be the main event. Hardly any wrestling. An obvious betrayal in the happy folks camp, which we'll talk about that maybe, and basically nothing else. I mean, Volta made his debut. I will never call him by that slave name. Pete Dunne made his in-ring debut and got buried pretty much in 5 minutes or less. And of course, we found out what Roman Reigns says is next for the Bloodline. And honestly, a lot of people, I have seen some people calling for what Roman Reigns wants. But we'll get to that later. Let's talk about Rampage, the better of the two shows. Now, next week, Rampage is live in Texas. And next week, we're going to have a Texas death match and everything. But it's going to be on at 7. Because of the NBA playoffs, they have to be preempted earlier in the day. Here's my thing. Just put it on at 7 at all times. I would much rather watch Rampage than SmackDown. Plain and simple. I would really like to just watch Rampage at 7, get through that hour, and then go to SmackDown. It's honestly, it is a lot better to have it on at 7, in my opinion. I'd rather be done with my wrestling by 10. I've watched DPW today, I watched SmackDown, and I watched Rampage. That's 4 hours of wrestling. I would really like to be done with this review and everything by 10. I started this review by 10 o'clock. Just move it to 7 o'clock. There ain't nothing wrong with putting it on before SmackDown, in my opinion. That's just me. We had Bryan Danielson versus Trent Beretta. William Regal was on commentary, which he mentioned multiple times during this on commentary that they'd be better off without him being there because he praises all three men, Ricky Starks, Taz, and even Excalibur. So no Jericho tonight, of course, because when you have Regal out there, you don't need anyone else. So this was a good opener. It wasn't the best match on this show. No, that is the main event, which we'll talk about that very, very soon. But they start off with some mat wrestling before Danielson lands a kick to Beretta's back. Danielson comes off the rope and runs into a back elbow from Beretta. Danielson lures Beretta into some kicks and back into the corner with some chops. Regal did mention a couple times on commentary tonight that he wishes that Beretta did not hang around with the rest of the best friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Danhausen, whoever else. He did compliment Beretta multiple times during this match. And honestly, Beretta could be a great singles wrestler if it ever comes down to that turn. Because honestly, it feels like Trent Beretta has been held back by the whole best friends tag team thing. I mean, him and Chuck, they have enough tag teams as it is. They really wanted to break a team up. This would be the one to do it. Danielson goes for the front headlock, but Beretta powers out with an overhead suplex. Danielson backs Beretta up and again with some chops and kicks in the corner. Beretta escapes in a suplex and sends Danielson to the outside. Beretta goes for a dive to the floor, but Danielson meets him with a kick to the chest. Danielson goes up for his own dive to go to the outside, but Beretta is waiting with the Scioto suplex on the arena floor. Beretta charges Danielson, but Danielson moves and Beretta crashes into steel steps. As we go to picture-in-picture, back to break, and Beretta is fighting out of a headlock. But Danielson retakes control with some strikes. Danielson taunts Beretta, but that only fires him up. Danielson still takes Beretta down in front headlock suplex. Danielson climbs to the top rope. Beretta meets him and climbs up too. Beretta brings Danielson back down with a suplex from the top rope. Both men are down. We go a little bit further in the match. Danielson pulls Beretta to his feet, lands a series of knees. Danielson goes for the Gotch-style power driver, leads to a series of near falls. Danielson charges in the corner and misses. Beretta hits a swinging DDT for a 2 count. Beretta puts Danielson on the top rope, goes up with him. Danielson slips out, makes him sit down in the corner. Danielson goes up top and hits a belly. This was scary. Oh my God, this was scary. I don't care how Danielson's been back in wrestling since 2018, so 4 years. And we all know why he was away for about a year and a half. It was because of concussion and other problems. Well, they go up for this back suplex, and Beretta shifts his weight and lands and all you see is Danielson's head hit the fucking mat, and he just grabs at his neck, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. Please don't do that. I don't care how long Danielson's been back in wrestling and how great he feels. I never want to see him do that. I never want to see Danielson's head hit the mat like that in a scary looking spot. Don't ever do that. I was just literally like, oh, he's fine, of course. He came back. He finished this match. He came back later in the night when it came after the Wheeler Yuta John Moxley match, which is the main event. We'll talk about that later. But that was absolutely the scariest spot of this match and of the night. Beretta and Danielson trade more strikes in the center of the ring. Big lariat by Beretta. He gets a 2 count. Regal, of course, complimenting Beretta the entire match because he says he's known him for about 15 years. Which Trent Beretta was a part of the Dude Busters, if I'm correct, is their name. It was Trent Beretta and Kalen Croft in WWE, so that was about 15 years ago. Beretta pounds Danielson with some forearms against the ropes. Beretta comes back, ropes it, but Danielson hits the Busaiku knee, goes down. He even asks the fans, "Do you want to see me kick his head in?" Goes over, grabs Beretta's fans, and starts kicking him in the head. Locks in the reverse cravat, which, oh my god, he put him in a yes lock, but wrenched his neck. Wrenched his neck and was pulling while his neck was wrenched. It was nasty, and of course, Trent Beretta has to tap out, and that is that. So, Beretta, if honestly you wanted to bring somebody else into the Blackpool Combat Club, this would be a guy if you wanted to break away from them. So, that was a really good match. Good opening. Then we go backstage. Lexi Nair is the latest person trying to get a hold of Hook. Talk to Hook, but Hook has got his earphones in, which apparently she must not be able to see. And she's in the locker room with Hook. She tries to ask some questions, but Hook isn't talking. Hook gets up and leaves, but Danhausen jumps out of the trash. She's like, "I got you this time," because he's been trying to curse Hook. And he's like, "Wait a minute, you don't walk away from me. Where are you going?" Hook, of course, threw some of his snacks, his chips into the thing, and Danhausen just picks them back up and just starts eating them, and that is that. Obviously, they must be leading to a Hook versus Danhausen. Danhausen is going to be Hook's first match, and I just don't see Hook losing to Danhausen. I just don't. So, that is what you have for that. Time for break and okay, so we go from that to this shitty-ass segment. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page and Dan Lambert are out there. Basically, all Scorpio Sky really has to say is that he's been undefeated for the last 300-plus days. Killed the Open Door Challenge because he wants someone to step up to beat him. Out comes, as Excalibur called them, America's favorite couple. I think he was being ironic because they are hated by everybody. Because they want a match. He wants a match. He wants the match between these guys, between him and Scorpio Sky. Obviously, that match will probably happen at Battle of the Belts. It was not confirmed here. He doesn't give a shit about Paige's kid because Paige, they say that they Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara are a PR disaster waiting to happen. Absolutely. Paige prays his kid doesn't end up like Tay Conti. Guevara says he doesn't give a shit about your kid. He says he keep coming for them every single week until they get a title match. And called him a bitch and walked away. And I'm like, the crowd, they shushed the crowd. There are reports that these guys, everybody got booed out of this. Nobody liked this. I feel bad for Sami and Tay because they are because it's probably not their decision to do this. If it is, then they need to get their heads together because this is not good. Nobody wants to see Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara together on television. I'm sure I'm not the only one that says this. No one gives a shit what you do behind closed doors. They've already separated Anna Jay and Tay Conti from their tag team on Dark and Dark Elevation. Anna Jay is now teaming with Ruby Soho for no fucking reason. These two better be fucking turning heel soon. Because I'm telling you right now, this shit's not gonna last. People are already sick and tired of seeing them. America's favorite couple on their televisions, because I know the fuck I am. I like Sami as a wrestler. I like Tay as a wrestler. They need to be separated. Keep your little shenanigans and whatever on the vlog. stay the fuck off television together. It's just not working. It's not gonna work. Swerve Strickland versus QT Marshall, Ansel and Nick Comoroto, of course, with QT. It was a decent match. Swerve Strickland, of course, beats QT Marshall. Marshall got the jobber's entrance, and Swerve actually got his entrance. I know they do this on here for some reason, that outside of the main event, almost nobody gets an entrance. I mean, they do put the entrances for the talent who are going to be in the first match on YouTube. It's like, I don't really think anyone cares about that. I think of it is, if you're going to do it with just like the main event is the one where you get your entrances, then don't have Swerve come after his entrance and make everyone like Danielson and Trent were on YouTube, Willow, Nightingale, and Red Velvets were cut, and QT Marshall got the job entrance as well. If it's only supposed to be, like, Swerve didn't need an entrance if you just want to keep that up. So, this match was typical, you know. Strickland hits the flatliner, rolling back heel kick, 1, 2, 3, and that is that. So he wins. On commentary, Ricky Starks says, or gets the mic and says, he and Strickland have some unfinished business. Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee have unfinished business. So how about this? On Wednesday night in New Orleans, in Ricky Starks' hometown, we're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned tag team match to settle all this beef once and for all. Get a video of the problem with Marina Shafir. She says, Jade, I'm begging you to solve me. Here's the thing. Jade Cargill has to lose. You're having this whole built-up thing where you're having Mark Sterling and everyone out, like, Mark Sterling is, like, worried that Marina Shafir is too much of a challenge for Jade Cargill. You're having these video packages, you're having all this hype and fanfare for Marina Shafir, who, honestly, in NXT was absolutely the drizzling shits. I still remember the match her and Jessamine Duke and Shayna Baszler had against Dakota Kai and 2 other women, and every time Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke got in the ring, fans were chanting, please tag Shayna. Everyone did not want them in the match. She's okay on Dark and Dark Elevation. She's not really done much. She just fights a bunch of, she beats a bunch of jobbers, and that's about it. If you're giving her so much fanfare, she has to be the one to beat Jade Cargill. There's literally no other reason. If you just wanted it to be Marina Shafir versus Jade Cargill, you could have made it like that and had Jade beat her and go on to be 30-0. But if you're like hyping up Marina Shafir as much as you are, she has to be the one to win, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to hype this woman up only for her to lose to Jade Cargill? I don't get it. Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament match, Willow Nightingale versus Red Velvet. The fans were behind Willow from start to finish of this match. They really, really, really wanted Willow Nightingale to win this match. So, Nightingale looked fantastic in this match. Red Velvet's, you know, she's got a little bit more edge to her, I guess, after the whole thing with Layla Hirsch, which, by the way, Layla Hirsch got injured during the tapings for Dark Elevation. She pretty much, I think, had the same problem that Rick Boogs had. Her knee buckled and she went down, so they had to call the match at 1 minute and something. So, there's that. Nightingale slams Velvet, but misses a splash. Red Velvet backs Nightingale into the corner, hits a flurry of strikes. Nightingale cartwheels out of the Irish whip, but takes Velvet down and hits a senton for a close 2 count. Nightingale climbs to the top rope, but misses a moonsault. Velvet escapes a suplex attempt with a backstepper, hits a corkscrew kick for the pin and the win. Willow Nightingale is your winner. I'm sorry, Red Velvet is your winner. So, there is that. So, the fans were chanting for Willow Nightingale all over the place. She looked good. She looked good in her match with Ring of Honor. I hope Tony Khan has plans to use her for Ring of Honor, if anything. I mean, who else is gonna beat? Because we know Deonna Purrazzo is losing the title to she's gonna be Mercedes Martinez is gonna be the unified Ring of Honor Women's Champion when it's all said and done. Lexi Nail is backstage with Tony Nese. He's like, what the hell? You getting all, like, chumming with Hook and Danhausen. Where's my respect? In comes Mark Sterling. Gives him a card and says, you see my work with Jade and MJF. Maybe what you need is great legal representation. Let's walk and talk. So, hey, all I gotta say, if this gives more time to Tony Nese, by all means, let's see what happens, because we already have Tully Blanchard Enterprises, which I don't know if that's going to be exclusive to Ring of Honor or not. But now we have Mark Sterling, who's got MJF and Jay as a client, and it looks like maybe Tony Nese. So maybe he's going to do like more of a Paul Heyman type managerial thing where he doesn't have a group, but he just, like when Paul Heyman did CM Punk and Brock Lesnar about the same time going into one WrestleMania, where he went out with CM Punk, he came back, he went out with Brock Lesnar, and like managed them separately, eventually turning on Punk, of course. But maybe that's what we'll see with this, is that Mark, he doesn't manage MJF, but he's his legal representation. Maybe we'll see him do this with Jade and Tony, where he doesn't manage them together, but manages them separately. Mark Henry chats with John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. Yuta says Moxley embarrassed him the first time they wrestled, and he came close to beating him the second time. Yuta says he's not scared of Moxley and he will earn his respect. Moxley says, "Let's get one thing straight. It's not my job to show you respect. It doesn't care what Regal thinks of him. My job is to spill your guts so we can finally see what you are made of." And he walks out. Yuta comes out. Moxley comes out. Before Moxley even gets into the ring, he comes to the barricade. Yuta just dives out there and takes out John Moxley. He starts fighting with him. They go into the crowd. He's beating up on John Moxley. Just has the upper hand before the bell even rings. The match, they finally get into the ring. He catches Yuta with a German suplex, and the bell finally rings. He suplexes Yuta and follows up with a running clothesline in the corner and some chops. Yuta fights his way back. Some chops up. Moxley puts him down with a boot, then gets a 1 count. This was a great match. We'll get to the rest of it here now. Moxley grounds Yuta, but Yuta fights back with some shots. Moxley hits a headbutt, but charges with a Manhattan drop. Yuta charges into the corner, but Moxley sends him over the top rope to the outside. He grabs him, takes him over to the steel steps, and takes his head and bounces it off the steel steps. Moxley gets back to the ring, raises his hands up. We go back outside. Yuta's just sitting there, and you just see blood just gushing out of this guy's fucking forehead. Gushing all over his chest. It's coming down his face. This dude is bloodied. Moxley, we go to picture-in-picture. And during the picture-in-picture for what we got to see, which I hate when they say, we'll go into picture-in-picture, you're not going to miss a second. And then it's like, halfway through the commercials, they go full screen so we don't see any more of the match. But what we saw, Moxley is just working over this fucking blood, this bloody face. We come back, and Yuta's fighting to the roofs while he's in a Boston crowd. He is bloodied from all the way over. He's gushing. You can see everywhere he goes, there's just dribbles of blood everywhere. Moxley pie faces him against the ropes, but Yuta fights to his feet. Moxley tumbles to the outside. Yuta gets up on the top rope and dives to the outside, putting them through the timekeeper's table. Moxley's first to get back to the ring despite taking the worst of the dive. Yuta is so bloodied. The dock is right there. You can just see the drizzling of all the blood. This dude is absolutely just, I don't know how the fuck he's able to get up with all this fucking gushing blood and everything. He's just a mess. Yuta catches Moxley with a backslide for a 2 count and follows with a deadlift German suplex. He's a second German. Can't get the third as Moxley escapes. Moxley hits a huge, goes for the Stan Hansen type lariat, but reversed by Yuta. Yuta grabs Moxley's wrist and stomps on his head like Bryan Danielson. Lands a splash from the top rope near fall. Yuta follows it up with a crossface on Moxley in the middle of the ring. Moxley reverses in pinning attempt for a 2 count. Moxley hits a huge Stan Hansen like lariat. Gets the 2 count. Both men are down. Moxley gets to his feet, punches him, but Yuta is having none of it. He fights back. Moxley goes up top to the face of Yuta, backs him into the corner, and then goes to the top rope. Yuta pushes Moxley and dives right into the Death Rider, but he kicks out. This was the one where he just grabs it and shunts down. It wasn't the lifting one. So, gets a 2 count. Moxley usually hits the lifting one. If it's usually the other one, it's not a done deal all the time. Moxley locks on the Bulldog choke, but Yuta won't tap. You see the blood gushing. He has the Bulldog choke on, and Moxley's entire arm, on both sides of his face, are fucking covered in Yuta's blood. My God. I hope, because this was taped on Wednesday, obviously, I hope this motherfucker got some stitches, got some blood put into him, because this dude had to be running almost on empty. Moxley locks in the Bulldog choke. He won't tap. Moxley goes for knee strikes. The head. He switches out and goes to and starts striking him in the head with his knee. Moxley goes for the running boot. Yuta reverses into his own Bulldog choke. Moxley is able to power out because Yuta couldn't get the connection right. Yuta gets him into a sleeper hold. He goes to go down like Shayna Baszler would or Samoa Joe would in their versions. But Moxley is able to escape. He pounds him into a series of elbows like Bryan Danielson does. Moxley hits the running knee strike and high angle paradise shift. Yuta kicks out again. Moxley is like, oh my god, what do I have to do? Puts him into the rear naked choke, pulls him over, and Yuta passes out. Moxley beats Wheeler Yuta. This dude is a fucking star. I don't want to hear any E-drone, any anti-WWE bot. I don't want to hear anyone say AEW is not building their own stars. What has Wheeler Yuta done in the last 2.5 fucking weeks? The match he had with Bryan Danielson last Wednesday, winning the Ring of Honor Pure title from Josh Woods, going the distance, bloodied face, beat the hell out of with Jon fucking Moxley. Do not ever tell me AEW is not building their own stars, because Wheeler Yuta is a fucking made man after the last 3.5 weeks of his career. Don't give me that bullshit that, they only use ex-WWE talent. They just use 2 ex-WWE talent to make Wheeler Yuta, along with Sammy Guevara, along with Jungle Boy, along with Darby Allin. AEW is building, and MJF, may I ask. And they are building their own stars. It takes time, you stupid motherfuckers. Wheeler Yuta's a made man tonight. This was fantastic. After that, Bryan Danielson and William Regal come down. William Regal's like, he's got himself in that position like he's gonna fuck this guy up. Wheeler Yuta's on his knees. He's like, come on, bring it on. I don't give a shit. I ain't got nothing to lose. Just bring this shit on. He eventually gets up. He's got the fist ready to go. William Regal puts out the hand. He shakes his hand. They all look at him. He takes his own blood and spells B-C-C on his chest. And as the camera is going to black, the last thing you hear Moxley say is, now the real work begins. So it looks like this dude has joined the Blackpool Combat Club. What a star-making performance. Like Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, they are doing exactly what they want to do. The question is now, who is next? Clearly, after the whole Eddie Kingston LAX and stuff with the Jericho Appreciation Society is done it over with, the JAS, of course, is going to beat LAX. But how long will it take before we get enough men into the Blackpool Combat Club? We need 5 to take on the Jericho Appreciation Society, professional wrestling versus sports entertainment in blood and guts. Hopefully, soon. I'd say somewhere between Double or Nothing and All Out. I don't think they're going to do that at a pay-per-view. I just don't think you're going to, unless AEW want to do their own, blood and guts pay-per-view, I don't think they're going to do it at a pay-per-view. But yeah, we got 3 now in the Blackpool Combat Club, if this is for real. But I will say this again. Anybody who says AEW needs to worry about building their own stars and start relying on WWE talent, fuck you, fuck your shitty idiotic opinion, and go sit in the corner, you stupid virgin. That was a star-making performance. AEW is building their own stars. You got Sami, who's on the end of being, he's going to be a heel very, very soon, hopefully. You got Jungle Boy. You got Darby Allin. You got MJF. You got Wheeler Yuta. What else do you want? It's just mind-boggling how people don't think that AEW is not building their own stars. They just, honestly, Wheeler Yuta was a fucking star when he had a match with Bryan Danielson. And he just became a bigger star tonight. I can't wait to see. Now, the only thing I want to see change about Wheeler Yuta is get rid of those colorful tights and change them to pure black. Go completely black with the BCC on one side, his name on the other, and that is that. Just completely black with BCC on one side, his name on the other side, and pure whatever color, like white. I think that would be perfect. Like the colorful, like the color, like the like multicolored blue, yellow, and like the blue, yellow, and red stripe stuff on him. That needs to change. But it's just crazy where Wheeler Yuta was a year ago to where he is now. I don't even think he was in AEW a year ago. Here he is now, about to go on the biggest ride of his career. You think the Inner Circle did wonders for Sammy Guevara? You haven't seen anything yet. This dude is going to be one of the biggest names in AEW. He might replace Sammy Guevara as a pillar to this company because they are doing everything right with Wheeler Yuta, and Sammy Guevara is literally like crumbling right now as a babyface. Which is such a shame because the dude was he was like the hottest he could be coming out of that feud in that match with Cody, and they just absolutely killed him by like, let's just shove your woman and you on TV at the same time. It was a big mistake. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens with the Blackpool Combat Club. Because this dude is going to be going places. So yeah, that is going to be very good. See what happens. That was Rampage. What can I say about SmackDown? Oh yeah. Tony Khan, you madman. I gotta say this. Tony Khan, you madman. We have Championship Week coming up for AEW. We don't know what's going on with the Battle of the Belts 2, which is going to seem like a big lane. I'm guessing it's going to be the women's title, the TBS title, and the TNT title. That's going to be your 3 matches. They're going to tape them on Friday after the Texas Death Match, which honestly, they're making a big mistake with this because if you're taping all this shit after Adam Cole and Hangman Page in a Texas Death Match, nobody's going to care about the next match that happens. That's all I got to say. Now, my God, we have the tag team titles on the line on Wednesday. We got the women's title on Saturday. You got the world title on Friday. They had Excalibur announced tonight. On Wednesday, not just the tag team titles, but the Ring of Honor TV title will be on the line as Minoru Suzuki will be battling the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. I did not think that Minoru Suzuki would have a very long title reign. It's just there's no reason for him to win, to hold the title longer than he is going to hold it. 2, Samoa Joe versus Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor TV title. On free TV, Tony Khan, you're a madman. Just, what is this life? That's gotta be either the main event or the opener of the show. Plain and simple. I have no fucking words for this. I cannot wait. FTR and the Briscoe have match of the year, but this is not going to be a match of the year. This is going to be a match of this is going to be the fight of the year, in my opinion. I cannot wait. Alright, let's talk about SmackDown. SmackDown. Well, Volta and Marcel, and I think it's Marcel Barthel, have made their debut. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And we also had Raquel Rodriguez make her debut. We'll talk about that later. I'm not too mad about that one. But Kayla Braxton's in the ring, and I thought, oh, well, what would be the way you want to start off SmackDown? Roman? Now he's the main event. Maybe Drew McIntyre versus somebody else. Nah, let's not do that. How about Ronda Rousey boring us through another promo because she couldn't get the job done on Saturday night in a 2-star match as mandated by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Whereas the Briscoes and FTR got a 5-star, Speedball Mike Bailey got a 5-star in one of his matches this weekend, and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch both got 4-star plus matches. And the fact that Ric Flair must be on some kind of drug, because he went on social media and said, like, his daughter and Ronda Rousey was the best women's match he has seen in a long time. Did he not watch Bayley vs. Sasha Banks 1 and 2? The two best women's matches in WWE history? Must not have, because that match wasn't even the best women's match on the night. Anyway. She said she kept her word when she said SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte tapped out. We see a video of Flair tapping out. Referee was down. Taylor says she definitely felt the pressure. Rousey said she didn't make Flair tap. She didn't make her tap. And she will again. But what matters is she lost. And she didn't come here to make excuses. She mentioned how the best she needs to beat the best. One on top of twice. Whatever that means. And she beat Flair once, not twice, making her tap, not when it counted. And that's on her. And I'm trying not to fall asleep. It's only 9 o'clock. It's only 8 o'clock. And I'm trying not to fall asleep. We still got the rest of SmackDown. We still got Rampage. I don't need NyQuil right now. If I needed to fucking fall asleep at the middle of the night when I'm having trouble sleep, I would just turn this on, because this is inducing just crap. It's like, and I thought Simon Miller was the cure for insomnia. This tops that. I'm just saying. She says, what's next for her? She said, she wants a rematch, but not a regular match. She doesn't want her to be able to get herself disqualified or counted out. She wants an I Quit match at WrestleMania Backlash. Joe Biden flies on stage. He's like, ha 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 ha. You couldn't hurt me at Checkers, let alone an I Quit match. Quitting isn't in my DNA, but winning is. Even there's the winning line, which is fuck off. As it says, she's starting to think the baddest woman on the planet isn't just a catchphrase, it's a myth because Rousey can't win. But as to your challenge, that's a no. Rousey says, to get back at the line, bitch. She laughs. More as Rousey looks on. Rousey says she's got news for her. The match will happen. And Charlotte won't say she'll quit. She'll scream it when Rousey taps her arm backwards. And she drops the mic. And I'm trying not to fall asleep from this boring and drizzling shit of a segment. Ugh, I am absolutely just... ugh. Ugh, terrible. You see how Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeated the New Day in 1 minute and 40 seconds at SmackDown at WrestleMania, and how Pete Dunne was hard to control. Pete Dunne is set to wrestle his first match tonight on SmackDown. We see him, Sheamus, and Ridge Holland backstage getting riled up. Sheamus says tonight will be finally let him off the chain. Now they make their entrances. Pete Dunne isn't wearing his usual gear. He's wearing the fucking same shit he's been wearing the last few weeks. He still does the whole Pete Dunne, 2 fists to the face thing. He goes to the ring, 1 fist, and all that stuff. So he's trying to still be like Pete Dunne, even though he's supposed to be this other character, which, yeah, fuck that. So, how would you want to have somebody who hasn't had a match on TV since he's made his debut? How would you want him to go? Would you want him to go out there with a dominant victory like Walter will later, because you're not beating him against some jobber? Or would you want him to lose by surprise roll-up? If you pick surprise roll-up, ding, 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 you got a winner, because that's exactly what happened. He beats the shit out of Xavier Woods because that's who he took on for majority of this match. And then he goes for the finish. He goes for a running kick. Woods sidesteps and rolls him up and gets the win. He leaves, celebrates with Kofi Kingston. Pete Dunne's just, he's like having a tantrum. He's pissed off and everything. He's pushing the other two. And they make him go sit in the fucking corner. They make him go sit in a corner. How old is Pete Dunne? How old is this man? You're treating him like a fucking child? Damn, hey, bud, go sit in the corner because you're being, like, really? They buried him on night 1 being in the ring. They buried him when they changed his name. This is what you're going to see for every single person that is a Triple H guy. Pete Dunne is a Triple H guy. Volta is a Triple H guy. They're going to get buried 6 feet under, 12 feet under maybe, and then get released. And that's what that. I have a good theory that Volta is like when he people in AEW know that Volta is. It's only inevitable before WWE releases him. It's only inevitable. They know as soon as he's released, they're gonna be picking up that phone as soon as they're allowed to, and they're gonna call him, iron out any detail what he wants to do, and have him in All Elite Wrestling as soon as possible. You know it's gonna happen. By this time next year, Volta will not be in WWE. Marcel Bartel, Fabian Eichner will not be in WWE. Pete Dunne will not be in WWE because they're going to bury these guys because it's out of pity, spite. Then we're going to go to WrestleMania. We're going to go to seeing what these guys do. I don't think Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner, when they do get released, which is coming, will go to AEW. They'll probably go somewhere else, maybe Impact, maybe New Japan, maybe back home to XPW, I think is what it's called, or whatever. But the fact that the WWE is just burying Pete Dunne with the name change, with treating him, having 2 grown men treat this guy as if he's a fucking child, is an absolute fucking disgrace. Colin McAfee show sent us the DoorDash highlights of last night with Sami Zayn Anything Goes, which they did this in 2 instances. Apparently, they didn't have enough people to book enough matches tonight. So we had to have a look back at Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, the embarrassment of WrestleMania. And then later on, we had to go back and look at Pat McAfee and his entire thing with Austin Theory, Vince McMahon, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because they needed to fill fucking time. And you wonder why people have been calling an end for the brand split. They don't have enough talent on these rosters to do anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. What I have to see. So, after all that, Zayn says the next person who walks through the door, he wants to beat them up. And Pat Pierce agrees. And here comes Drew McIntyre. So, it's Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn later on. Here comes Volta with Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser. It was supposed to be Ludwig Krause, another Nazi. You know WWE fired Nash Carter on Thursday for not the supposed problems with his ex-wife, Kimberly, but because somebody put a picture up of him with a Charlie Chaplin / Hitler mustache, and him jokingly, probably back 8 years ago, putting his hand up as if he was doing the Heil Hitler thing. And yet, in 2 instances, WWE has done everything they can to get this man, to name people after Nazis. What the fuck are we doing here? Why? Now, Ludwig Krause could be a Nazi still. I do not know. Marcel Barthel is now Ludwig Krause. He introduces the epitome of efficiency and elegance, and speaks in German, and bills this person as the Ring General, and introduces Walzer, who comes out wearing a red jacket and half red, half black tights. What is wrong? What was wrong with Walter's ring jacket? Why is he wearing a ugly red jacket now? Now, I understand why everybody hates the fact that he changed his music. They changed his music. you do realize that WWE wants to own everyone's music. This isn't the 90s, this isn't the 80s, this isn't any of that shit where they want where they just will do whatever they want. It's just, I don't know. I do not know what to fucking think about this company. This is absolutely terrible. So, let's show brief clips of him and Bartel head to the ring. We go to commercial break. Instead of, this is one thing that I hate about the way they do things now with NXT. And the way they do things with these guys. I absolutely fucking hate that we have these guys going out there and having us want to watch these guys. It's so annoying. It's absolutely annoying that you have this go on. It's like, what made, like, when NXT 2.0 started, for like 3 or 4 weeks, you had Tony D'Angelo have video packages announcing this guy's arrival to NXT 2.0. For months, WWE had Veer going out there, giving us video packages of this guy, and them wanting to introduce Veer to the WWE Universe and who he was. How you're going to go out there, give us this. I don't understand how you're just gonna have people pop up. I mean, hell, after this match, they had the first video for Lacey Evans. Could it have killed WWE to have Walter do a couple video packages for this guy, for his debut, his impending debut? No. No. All they had to do, go out there and have Volta come out here and expect everyone, which everyone knew who Volta was. It is kind of fucking annoying that they went out there and they had Volta go out there and have the match with no fanfare. And it's absolutely sad because they had the whole betrayal thing of Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin happen tonight. And Madcap had a bigger reaction than Volta. Now, during the match, which it's a squash match, he beats up this guy named Joe Alonzo, who's been on Dark, who got beat by I guess Veer a couple weeks ago on Main Event. But during the match, I do not like the fact that they're wearing white red gear. By the way, the fact that they're not wearing their black and white attire, which was what it was like, just good old school style gear. They have to stand out, I guess. All for whatever. If you can't find the ability to, what I want to say, you can't find Volta, like, you can't find a way to promote Volta as Volta without changing anything, you are out of your fucking mind. I can't wait till this fucking guy gets released because, honestly, they're going to do nothing for him. So, and start chanting Volta over and over and over again. McAfee says, a big, the other name chant. Instead, he goes for dominance, he beats him with the big powerbomb. That is that. He stands tall, we go to replays, him and Barthel look on for the ring as the segment ends. Now, how long is it going to take before Vince McMahon says, we can't do anything with this guy, release him? They released Karrion Kross. They released Keith Lee. Guys that could have been major players for this company, but they were Triple H guys. Walter is a Triple H guy. Yes, he got the dominant win tonight. It should have been a lot faster than it was, but that's what you got to deal with. I give them between now and SummerSlam before Walter, Pete Dunne, Marcel Barthel, and Fabian Eichner are all let go of their contracts. Now backstage was Raquel Rodriguez, formerly known as Raquel Gonzalez. Not a big. This is like, out of all the name changes, I don't mind this one. It is what it is. This one's like, Raquel Gonzalez is not like she, yes, her father is Rick Gonzalez. She is a second generation star wrestler, sports entertainer, wrestler, whatever. But honestly, not a big deal. This one, like, Raquel Rodriguez, it's fine. They can have double R, they can have RR on her gear, whatever. SmackDown is one of the most impressive female locker rooms. That's a fucking lie. In all of WWE, but she guarantees they've never seen anything like her. That's a fucking lie. Los Lotharios interrupted and introduced themselves as Angel and Humberto, and they want to welcome her to SmackDown with a kiss. She, like, just gets a little, like, flustered for a minute. She's like, they're going in for the kiss. She's like, says something in Spanish and says, not a chance. They say, yep, your loss. And they walk off. She asks Kayla if that's how they always are, if they always are annoying. And that is that. We go back to the ring. It's time for one of the worst talk show segments of all, Happy Talk. As Madcap Moss comes out, he's introduced as the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, not the Andrew, as his title card said on the pre-show on Saturday or Sunday. On Saturday. Which, come on, people, what the fuck? He comes out, he is all happy. He's happy the fact that he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Corbin is not so happy. We go to break, we come back, and he's depressed. Madcap's all happy. They have a couple balloons that say congrats, but most of them are popped or lost all their air. Some other balloons that lost all their air, and he is just all down in the dumps. And he says there's only one person to blame for this loss at WrestleMania. Madcap Moss. Madcap got on the apron during my match and distracted me, so I lost the match. He wants some jokes. Well, Madcap apologizes. Madcap tries to tell him some jokes, and Corbin is not liking any of them. The point where Madcap's like, who do you call a guy who thinks he's better than everybody else and treats his friends like crap? Happy Corbin. He laughs about it. Corbin attacks him, beats him up. They fight for a while. Corbin Madcap Moss stands tall, and that was that. We'll probably get a match against them next week. Do not care. Jinder Mahal's backstage with Shanky, and he's telling Adam Pearce he's not getting an Intercontinental title shot. Because Pearce says it's nothing personal. Jinder tells Pearce to bring Ricochet out of witness protection, which that's a pretty funny line. Even tells Pearce to get him in the ring. Pearce is explaining himself when in comes Drowsy. Jinder Mahal says, I wasn't done. Looks at him and he's like, we're out of here. And some people said he pissed his pants and walked away. Yeah, that's probably what happened. He's like, well, do I get my I quit match? Pearce is like, it's not official yet. But we should know about tomorrow. He's like, tomorrow? He just gives him the death stare. Did not really give a shit. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn just cannot get out of his own way. This match lasted about 3 minutes. Sami Zayn retreats to the floor. Retreats to the floor, tries to leave. Drew McIntyre grabs him, throws him back into the ring. Tries to do some more with the Claymore. Sami retreats immediately, gets over the barrier, and runs up the stage as he is counted out. It's like, look at him up there, looking back here, staring around, looking like a bitch. And Drew McIntyre wins by count out. They're going to have a rematch next week because we got to run it back. We got to look back at everything with McMahon, Theory, Austin, and McAfee. Not care. We get a vignette, which called the first chapter in the story of Lacey Evans. She has been away since announcing her second pregnancy last year. She talks about coming from a small town in Georgia. Her father worked construction. Her mom was a young mother of 5. Her life beginning was rough because her father had a mental issue, health issue, and addiction issue with drugs and alcohol. And we're getting this little sob story of how she and her mother one night took her and her and the kids away, and they went place to place to place, and she was in her mother, she was just taken through so many rough times, and I'm like, this all better be a fucking true story, because if this is all WWE just trying to get sympathy for Lacey Evans, it's very fucking tacky. It is very short, it's very, short-sighted and very fucking tacky. This better be her telling her fucking truth. This better be her real-life story, because if it's not, Vince McMahon and WWE should be a fucking shame of themselves. Women's shelters, campgrounds for the rest of her life. She moved around so much that she had made it learn that she could either adapt or overcome, accept the way things are, and learn to roll with it, or completely give up, and she refused to give up. She says she may not have the same straight shot to the stardom that others in WWE have been blessed with, but that's okay because it makes her different than all the rest. She says what she has to do to go through to make her into the woman she is today. Motivated, ready for anything, confident mother, wife, sister, daughter, U.S. Marine, and WWE superstar. This doesn't make her better than any other superstar, but they damn sure don't make them better than her. We'll learn more next week. Again, are they trying to get her to be a babyface? Because if this is not something that is true, it is very fucking tacky and should not be even attempted. So, this coming Monday, we have Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley versus Sasha Banks and Naomi. Obvious heel turn is coming. Is very obvious for Rhea Ripley. She is tired and sick and tired of all this shit. But we gotta force and make ourselves think that they're gonna do something. So tonight we get Sasha Banks versus Liv Morgan. Why? Because WWE is lazy. This match lasted through one commercial break. Liv Morgan wins with a surprise roll up. The pin and the win. Because we can't book champions not named Roman Reigns to be strong. And they gotta make it look like that Sasha Banks and Naomi just won the titles, but they have a chance of losing them. Please. Everyone knows that Sasha Banks and Naomi are gonna keep the championships. We might not even have a match. Because if I'm Rhea Ripley, I'm attacking Liv Morgan before the match even begins, but that's just me. Announcers talk about Rick Boogs suffering the injury. We see Instagram posts, and McAfee says he can't wait to see Boogs back on SmackDown. Here comes the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, and Paul Heyman. They stop the pose, raising the gold in the air. It looks like whatever ailment that Roman Reigns had, he's had 5 days or so to sit there and rehab it and everything, but he was able to get those titles up as if nothing was wrong. Definitely a contrast for what you saw at the end of WrestleMania and on Monday night. Monday night, he was definitely 1,000% injured. Tonight, looks like he's a little bit better. Announced this next week with Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre plus Jinder Mahal versus Intercontinental Champion Ricochet. Why that match is happening, he doesn't deserve. What has Jinder Mahal done to earn a title shot, may I ask? Or even a championship contenders match? You get the Acknowledge Me Milwaukee thing. He finally, he says he wants to let everyone know something in private, something he and his wise men discuss rather frequently. Says it pains him to say that SmackDown and the Universal title wasn't enough, so he went to WrestleMania, smashed Cowboy Brock, took Monday Night Raw, and took the WWE title. Brings up the next step in the fight for the Tribal Chief. He doesn't think he can really do much more. He's done it all. But there's plenty left for the Bloodline to achieve. He says there are so many historical pictures and videos taken of them this week, and he couldn't help but think that he saw his 2 titles, but he only saw his cousins with their 1 title each. He says that's not enough. He recalls how he told Jay a while ago that they'd elevate him to new levels of greatness, and there's only one way to do that. He says it's time to unify the tag team titles. And somewhere in a New York apartment, another content creator is jumping for joy just hearing those words. He wants the Usos to go to Raw and bring him the Raw tag team titles and get get them for themselves, because when they do that, they do it for their bloodline. He asks if that's a deal. They're fired up. He says you have it. The bloodline will have all the gold soon. And out comes, of all people, Shinsuke Nakamura. And saying Nakamura's theme, which always, no matter what, gives me chills. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that you just sit there and it gives you chills. Zayn, he goes to top, but Zayn says Nakamura doesn't have anything to say. He understands how he feels because he lost his partner. You know that guy, Rick, which the fans go, booms! Dude's still over. I can't wait to see him back. Zayn says they lost Jimmy to an injury for over a year, which could be the same thing for Rick. Which Jimmy tore his ACL, Rick did tore his tricep, which went all off the bone. So if anybody, hopefully Rick Boone's got to talk to Triple H, because Triple H knows how that feels twice. Now that they have all the gold, the Island Relevancy is full of love, and he wants to help Nakamura. He hugs Nakamura in the middle of the ring, Nakamura, and whispers something in his ear, but he can't hear it. Probably, just setting up the spot that they're about ready to do. Nakamura has this confused look on his face. Zayn steps away, and the Usos knock him with a double super kick. The Usos stand over Nakamura, talk some trash, turn the reins, and tell him they have his back. The Usos go on about how they're headed to Detroit, the site of Monday Night Raw. The Bloodline stands tall with the gold in the air as we go to replays and what happened to Nakamura. SmackDown after WrestleMania goes off the air with the Bloodline standing tall in the ring, Reigns raising the titles, all of them raising their titles in the air to go off the air. Okay, so obviously the match should not happen on Monday. It should be that they start building towards a match at WrestleMania Backlash. There's no reason to give this title match away, this unification match away on Monday Night Raw or even on Friday Night SmackDown. Book it for Backlash. And simple. That's all you got to do. Well, they unify the titles. Yeah, it's honestly, they don't have any tag teams. They don't. Roman's got both titles. The Usos should have both titles. Unify them. Give us a WWE title for each of those. Then, what I would do, U.S. title and Intercontinental title do not need to be unified. Those are fine. You do need both of those. What should happen is after Naomi and Sasha Banks eventually lose the women's tag team titles to whomever it is, Naomi finally joins the Bloodline, and she gets both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles and unifies those. Sounds like a plan to me. Why not? SmackDown was originally shits outside of the Roman Reigns stuff. Walter, I give him between now and SummerSlam before he's future endeavored. Marcel Barthel, Fabian Eichner will also be future endeavored, and so will Pete Dunne. All of them are Triple H hires, all of them are Triple H guys, and all of them are going to be buried. They are going to be victims for the sins of their creator. Which, of course, in WWE is Triple H. But Rampage was pretty good. The main event, star making performance by Wheeler Yuta. Nothing else you can say there. But that is your AEW and Rampage and SmackDown review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Monday for Raw. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.